Alright, hello everyone. Today I want to do a very brief video talking about the Booyah tech. So if you haven't heard of Booyah tech, this is basically what it is. Someone throws a Booyah bomb and then boom, they died in one hit. How do they die in one hit? That doesn't do 100 damage, so what happened, right? So, for those who don't know, this is a tech in Splatoon 3, most commonly seen with Splatonis, but it works on a variety of weapons, and it applies to Booyah Bomb. This change right here is what I highly speculate is what caused this bug, because I remember this being present even in Splatoon 2. There's a good reason it's more common in 3, though. So, in patch 4.4, they did a change to Booyah Bomb where they extended the armor effect by 15 frames, or a fourth of a second. This was done so that you would hit the ground and you wouldn't die before you could move. However, my guess as to what happened is that when they extended this timer, they created a bit of a desync. And so to explain that, I need to talk about why Booyah Bomb works. So this is Stamper's damage numbers here, and it's object damage multipliers. So if you don't know, weapons have a certain amount of object damage multipliers that let them do more or less damage to certain subs and specials and other things with HP, for instance. You can find this all in Senduink's damage calculator. It's very easy to look into. So here is the uncharged vertical slash that we just saw on Booyah Bomb. Or sorry, this is uncharged. Let's get to charged vertical slash on Booyah Bomb. And you can see that with the damage multiplier, instead of doing 70 damage, we're doing 182 damage, which would result in a kill. The theory that this is what causes it to deal damage is basically confirmed when you look at Object Shredder. Uncharged Splatonis Stamper does 91 damage, so with Booyah Tech, a horizontal slash doesn't kill. But if you run Object Shredder and do it, it does, and look at the number with Object Shredder. This is also why it can work on other weapons, so for example, let's take a look at the Big Swig Roller. The Big Swig Roller vertical slash minimum damage with damage multipliers does over 100 damage. Swig can also do the Booyah Tech. Now, I've been calling this Booyah Tech, but some people call it the Booyah Bomb glitch. And I wanted to talk about that. Is this a glitch? Is this a bug? Is this something people shouldn't be doing? Because I have seen disputes about that. Now, first off, this works on LAN. So if anyone was curious if this was some online thing, it doesn't have anything to do with the online or any form of connection. But secondly, version 4.4 was put in the game on January 30th, 2019. Even if we make the extremely, and I mean extremely generous assumption that they were aware of Booyah's tech all the way not until Splatoon 3. Let's say they weren't aware of it until they saw Stampers doing it in the first few months of Splatoon 3. Again, we're being very generous with our assumption. That would mean that this glitch on a meta-relevant weapon against a meta-relevant special has been in the game for around almost 3 years in this game, and if you count Splatoon 2, almost 6. So, my question is it really an unintended bug at this point? Because I'm inclined to think no. Again, maybe there's a chance they put it in the game and they've just missed it for all these years, but I sincerely doubt it. Now, this isn't to say that I don't think this is a glitch, because I do think this is definitely a glitch. Again, this was probably caused from improper implementation into the 4.4 Booyah Bomb buff. However, they haven't removed it. So I think that at this point, they're fine with it being in the game, even if it's not directly taught or anything, for one reason or another. Maybe it makes the interactions with Booyah Bomb more interesting, maybe it's a balancing mechanic, maybe it's a way to add more depth to the special. Maybe they just don't care to fix it. They don't think the interaction matters that much, so they don't have a large preference if it exists or if it doesn't, so they don't want to do the work to fix it. I don't know. Maybe one day they'll fix it later. But I think it's kind of interesting to think about, is it a glitch or not? Because the last thing I want to bring up is substrafing. In Splatoon 1, substrafing could not be done on certain subs. You could argue that this was a glitch. I'd say it's more of an exploit, right? But it wasn't an intended option. It only later got patched in to work on other weapons, such as Seeker being reworked to curling, and Ink Mine getting directly fixed in a patch change. So my question is, could this have been the same thing? Could this have also started as an unintended mechanic, but they saw it and they thought, you know what? Why not? I don't know for sure. It's a little bit harder to say because Booyah Bomb glitch is a lot. It's less universal and it's a little more unintuitive, but who knows to say for sure. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Thanks for watching.